Yo. um, I don't know how my audio is going to be, but I just wanted to talk for a few minutes, um, before I lay down for an hour or whatever, because I need a little bit of a nap, I think. But I just wanted to talk about some things real quick, um, while I have the chance to. So yeah, this is all this is gonna be. Is just me talking for a few minutes. So don't expect anything too crazy. But if you are watching, subscribe if you're new and drop a like. Much appreciated. If you're on Kick, follow and subscribe as well. Much appreciated. I probably won't respond to chat or anything because this isn't going to be for very long. But I just want to explain some things real quick. Um, so first off, if you didn't know, I asked some questions in my YouTube posts. I think there's 5 questions. So if you're interested in answering those questions to help sort of, you know, build the channel into the way that it should be, definitely go check that out when you have a couple minutes to do that. It'd be much appreciated. I just ask that you answer the questions as honestly as possible. But yeah, if you guys wouldn't mind doing that, it'd be much appreciated. I will try and repost them just so they're getting seen, but even if just 3 or 4 people are able to do that, that'd be great. Not everyone needs to do it, but the more people the better, basically, just so I can gauge things a little bit. And aside from that, I just wanted to point out the fact that uploads haven't been consistent for, I I think, no, because I got sick, so I don't know, about 2 weeks, maybe going on 3, I don't know, somewhere around there. Uploads haven't been consistent because I was sick for a bit, and now I'm doing something else. Um, so I do just want to draw attention to that for a moment, just so I can explain myself and what's happening. Because not everyone's going to read YouTube posts, and that's totally okay. Some people only watch videos, some people only watch short videos, and some people only watch long videos and whatnot. So I'm trying, make this as quick as I can. But I just wanted to take the time to explain what's going on and why things are the way that they are at the moment in a video format. So, for those of you that do know, I was living in an apartment back in 2021 till 2022, and things went wrong in terms of what the landlord was doing basically, and it's a long, complicated story that I've already told before in the New Year's video. So if you want to recap on the past 5 years, go watch the New Year's video, um, which should have the same thumbnail, I think. It's probably the thumbnail I'm just going to use for the videos where I'm just talking. Um, but yeah, if you want to be caught up on the past 5 years, go watch that. But this is just me talking about the past week or two. But yeah, so basically, landlord did some stuff and whatnot, and tried to get me out of there illegally and all this and that. So I did some research on my rights as a person now that I can, I can think better. My emotions are all messed up. I'm not under. I mean, I'm still stressed out because of the situation for sure, but it's not as bad as it used to be. But I just wanted to sort of explain why I'm doing this and how it's impacting content for the time being. Um, so, like I said, I was learning my rights and whatnot, and I've realized after doing some research that basically everything my old landlord did was illegal. Almost everything he did was illegal. Coming into the apartment, without a heads up, because he wants to quote unquote clean. Little weird. I'm not too bothered by that, but it's I still can't do that. Um, The security deposit he made us pay after paying first and last month's rent, also illegal. You can't do that. Um, your last month's rent is supposed to be your security deposit, which I did not know that either. Um, the notice he gave me back in June was also not legal because it wasn't brought to the landlord and tenant board either. It was more of like a scare tactic than anything. Um, and then, because of that notice, he also used last month's rent to pay for that for the month of June because of my, my little mess up that I had. Um, but then at the end of June, I, showed him that, hey, I'm able to pay rent. And then I continued to pay rent until like September. And then this is where everything got this is where my eyes opened up more to just how bad the situation actually is. So, back in October of 2022, I believe, my uncle passed away, like during Halloween or something like that, so like end of October. And that was where my grandma was staying, so that she ended up getting kicked out of that place because my uncle passed away. So because of that situation, my landlord basically saw the opportunity to be like, oh, he's vulnerable, now I can get him out of here. Even though I'm paying rent, I have a job, I've had money in savings and everything to be able to continue to pay rent, which makes the entire situation even more just fucked up and illegal. But then he also forced me to pay the debt of the hydro bill that we had, which was $2,400, by the way, which was literally all my money in my savings. That I had to pay that off in one fell swoop because he wanted me out of there. And I still paid him after that too, mind you. I paid him at the start of that month, at the end of that month, on top of having to pay that off, on top of paying rent every other month after June, So he basically took everything from me to be able to be like, well, you can't pay rent now, so what are you gonna do? He forced me into a position that I wasn't able to get out of. And because, I just lost my uncle who, for some reason, I didn't realize that he was my mom's brother. And I just, for some reason, that never clued into me until after he passed. So that was like an even bigger mental toll on me, because I didn't know that. So unfortunately, I gave in to all the stress and the pain and whatnot. And I was like, okay, I need to just drop all of this for now. I need to go take care of my grandmother until she's in an old age home and whatnot. And then that's what happened. And then I lived there with my dad taking care of my grandma. My relationship with my dad is not great. Never has been, never will be. He's very abusive and manipulative and all that good shit. So being back with living with him also wasn't good after the landlord forced me out, because I would have came back to the apartment after my grandma was in old age home after a couple months. I would have been back in the apartment again. Rightfully so, because I should have no reason to have left in the first place, let alone to pay off fucking everything on my own. But I didn't know my rights at the time, and if I had known my rights at the time, I first of all would not have left, because even in the lease it very clearly states that if the landlord wants you out, you don't have to leave unless he goes to the landlord-tenant board. They get the sheriff, and then the sheriff's like, you gotta go, then you gotta go. But, that process can take a few months, 3+ months to be able to do that. Sometimes longer. So I wouldn't have had to leave. I wouldn't have had to pay rent, which would have allowed me to save up money for somewhere else, as well as to be able to still afford groceries and whatnot. And then the hydro debt, I also wouldn't have paid off all in one go. The whole $2,400, I would have paid that off on a month-to-month basis, because I wouldn't have had to leave, So quite literally everything he did to me was illegal, and to my roommate. But my roommate left after the June notice, so you know he wasn't there to deal with the rest of it, unfortunately. Which also means he wasn't there to help pay off that hydro bill either. That was all on me to pay that. Which also put me which is also kind of like an illegal thing to do. It's not as illegal, but it's still wrong because now that kind of counts as my roommate stealing the money or not stealing, I guess, but there's a word for it in legal terms. I don't know the word for it. It's definitely not stealing though, but it it makes him seem bad because of the position we were in, basically that I was forced into in a way, in the eyes of the judge and whatnot. That is how that would play out, basically. So after I've came to the realization that quite literally everything was my old landlord's fault, up to current day, because I can't maintain a job. I was getting sick every month or two for the past 3 years since being kicked out. Last year things got better. I only got sick once last year, and that was in November. That was one of the better years health-wise. But then I got sick, a week ago this month, or yeah, no, a week ago this year already, which is kind of concerning. I hope that it doesn't become a thing again where I'm getting sick every month or two. It wasn't that bad. It was like a sore throat, and I literally couldn't have stopped blowing my nose for 24 hours straight. I literally went through an entire tissue box just blowing my nose. Um, my nose was peeling and stuff like that. This is how often it was happening. But because I've realized all of that, I've looked into my rights and I've looked into what I'm able to do. Um, I've come to the conclusion that this is not okay for this to have happened to me and my roommate, and that something needs to happen because of what happened. So I've been looking into creating an actual court case, going to court for this situation. Um, I probably can't say too much about that in detail other than what's already out there and that I've already talked about. So I gotta choose my words carefully when it comes to that. But I've explained the whole story multiple times, but needless to say, when you're trying to take someone to court, it's a it's a long process, and there's a lot I have to do. And when I say a lot, it's a lot. Like trying to start a business was one thing, but trying to create a lawsuit feels just as complicated as trying to start a business, which is fucking crazy. It's not as hard. Don't get me wrong. Creating a business is one of the hardest things to do, but the amount of effort I have to put into it feels like the same. So, well, let me finish this real quick. That's what I've been doing and looking into and creating. It's taken a while so far just to finish the phase one that I'm in right now, which is gathering all the evidence and stuff. And I am at least happy to say, at least based on my own research and intuition and whatnot, um, I my case is very in the green, I guess you can say. It doesn't seem possible for me to really lose this because of all the evidence I have, because of the way the landlord was treating me and acting, and even my bank statements, show everything that happened and whatnot. Um, so it's in my favor to win this, which is great. I won't get into numbers and stuff like that because I'm probably not allowed to talk about that kind of stuff. And um, once I run it by a lawyer and everything, I'm sure he'll be able to confirm a lot of these things because I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the law as much as a lawyer does. This is just things I've found on my own time, and the whole idea that I'm in now is that I get everything I possibly can for the lawyer in my case, gather everything I possibly can from my side, my roommate's side, witnesses, and all that kind of stuff. So that when the case is official and it's being created by the lawyer will have more time to actually like create the game plan. You know, like I give him everything he needs to know, and he just gets to work on making this like impossible to lose. Basically, I don't think there's a way I can lose this, honestly. But that is just something I wanted to bring attention to because you know content is gonna be slow some days. Okay, and you gotta forgive me for that. You know, like the start of this week was very busy in terms of trying to fill out this lawsuit and everything. And the bank statements alone took like 8 hours to finish because I have to like go through each individual month for like 5 years. I gotta find certain numbers, highlight certain things, and be like, here's when I paid rent, and here's when I got a paycheck, and all this and that and whatnot. It's a lot. There's a lot going on. Um, phase one's almost done though, at least. I just need to make like a recap video to sort of go through everything that's happened, start to finish, in like a 10-minute period um, from this current year. And I need to like finalize the story I have for the lawyer as well, because right now it's just more of just like putting everything down on a document without like formatting it or anything. It's just kind of everything that he would need to know. Um, Plus links to like some videos. This is the one time that being a content creator is actually going to come in handy because there's been multiple videos where I'm talking about the situations I'm in. And I even made a video to the landlord in June after the notice, literally pulling out like a stack of cash and counting it, being like, I have rent money, you know, which helps my case immensely to prove that I was paying and able to pay and whatnot. So that's a bonus at least. Being a content creator comes in handy for once in fucking 13 years I've been making content for. But you just you gotta understand and hopefully you respect the fact that this is gonna take some time. Okay, this isn't something that's gonna like be done and over with in like 2 months. Okay, I mean I feel like the fastest this could go through is maybe like 3 months, maybe depending on how fast um, stage 4 or 5 would be, I think, because that's where we like show the landlord we're going to court, and then he has his decision to make if he wants to pay us directly to avoid going to court, um, which he would probably want to, I would imagine, or if he'd rather try and fight us in court and have to pay more if we win, basically. So just understand that some days for the next little bit. There's gonna be no videos. I have to put this is a priority. Okay, you got to understand that this is a priority right now to get this done. Once it's handed off to the lawyer and he's doing his thing, I'm sure there'll be more time. Like a month or two, maybe even 3 months of just like waiting for this thing to develop in the hands of a lawyer, and there'll be more time for content to figure shit out. Um, oh, hold on. That's right. What was I talking about? Right. Once it's handed off to the lawyer and everything, um, I'm sure there'll be more time to focus on me and content. Probably trying to hopefully find a part-time job or something in the meantime. But until then, just understand and hopefully respect the fact that, again, some days are just going to be a little slow for the time being until this is done. Because, again, this has to take priority over basically anything else right now. Um, because of how much is on the line, and I think I can say how much that is. I hope. I probably can. Because this depends on anyone that's going to like a small claims court. It's the same for everyone. So when you're going to a small claims court, the maximum amount that you can get out of it is $50,000 per like person that's filing the case and whatnot. So needless to say, yes, I want to do that, and based on just my math alone on my statements and everything, I am well over that amount that I am allowed to fight for, basically. So I hope you can understand that, respect that, because that's a lot of money. A lot of money I should have had by now. 4 years being able to work full time with the amount of money I was getting, that should have been around like $130,000 through my bank account by this like point in time right now, by 2026. And that was not the case. In 4 years, I only made like $36,000, which is a $93,000 difference that, is a loss of income based on the situation that happened. So, needless to say, again, this takes priority over literally anything else right now. This is important that I need to get this through. I need to get this in the hands of a lawyer. I need to give him as much evidence as possible so he can create, the game plan and everything. And, yeah, I just hope you understand that, because this is important to me. And it kind of has to be. Because, if I win this case, then I can fix my life again. I can get back to normal. I would have money to be able to get to work. If I'm able to find a job again. I have money to see doctors and get a family doctor and, get like tests done and stuff. I'd have money for groceries finally for the first time in like 4 years that I haven't been able to afford like more than like $40 worth of groceries ever. It depends on the month. Sometimes I get blessed by the government with like an extra $20, $40 or whatever, but that's not consistent. I'd be able to, upgrade my equipment finally again, as well. And I think I was doing the math earlier. I would still have a lot of money left over if I went like balls to the wall on upgrading everything like to the max. I would still have a lot left over. Because in my mind, I'm like, if I spend like $3,000 here on like one fucking thing, that's a lot of money. But then I gotta remember the total that I'd be working with, and it's like, oh, that's like not even like 1% of the amount that I am entitled to. So, and then also, start taking care of myself again, start working out again and exercising and all that good stuff. Start my driver's license, finally get that started so I can drive like 3 years from now, finally. That'd be nice. That's the main of it. Obviously, there's other things to pay off all my debts that I have with everybody, get my credit score built up again, so I can get like business money in the future if my business is generating income, which I hope it will. But yeah, needless to say, this is something that could change my life for the better, which is something I've been desperately trying to find for the past 4 years, just a way to get back to just a normal fucking life again. Just a normal life. Like, I would love to work like fucking 9 to 5 if I was able to, you know? I'd be okay with that because there's money in my bank account, you know? That's like $3,000 a month or whatever. You know, that's great. I would fucking love that right now. Would my body allow that to happen? That depends. It depends on the job, you know? If I'm like trying to go into construction again, trying to build like an Amazon warehouse or some shit again, I probably wouldn't last longer than like a couple weeks, probably. But if it's like, I don't know, a remote job or something just like easy to get into, you know, that'd be probably best for me to maintain something for at least 3 months or longer, I would prefer, you know, just so I have some money coming in, and then I have money in savings, and then I can figure stuff out after that, you know. Then I can look at like who's hiring and like, you know, where's like the cheapest places to live or whatever it may be and whatnot. Um, but obviously I can't do any of that with no income. So, yeah. So not only would this help change my life for the better, but it would also help change content for the better too, because at the end of the day, I live and breathe for content. It is something I'm always thinking about 24/7. It never, ever, ever stops, ever. Never, ever. I'm always thinking about content no matter what the fuck I'm doing. All the time. Just, it's just like, it's my profession at the end of the day, you know? It's what I'm obsessed with. It's what I've learned for 13 years. It's what I'm addicted to. And it's what I want to do. It's what I want to be paid for in the future. To pay the bills, you know? It's what I live for. Even if this isn't the right path I should be on after fucking 13 years with the numbers we have, you know, that's mostly my own fault. And my life going to shit and whatnot. You know, that totally plays a factor in how that plays out. But, you know. Anyway, yeah, that's really all I wanted to talk about is just explaining that things are going to take time. You know, if there's days I'm not uploading, like don't worry, okay, you know, I'm still here. You know, I'll try and make posts and stuff like that if I'm able to, or like make a video for like an hour or something, but I just wanted to explain what I'm doing and why there's been a lack of uploads for a little bit, and why that will probably be a running theme for some time going forward, just because this is, again, a priority that I need to take care of. And again, once it's in the landlord's hands and he's making the game plan and everything, I'm sure there'll be like a grace period where like nothing's really happening and everyone's just kind of waiting, you know. But once this is all said and done, everything should be good after that. I hope. I'm sure the government's going to want to take like a cut of it or whatever, probably, because it's the government. They take fucking everything, I would imagine. But hopefully it's not like too much, because I would like to take, you know, if I got like the maximum amount, I would like to put half of that or more into savings, just so like I have something to rely on, and then that gives me enough money to do whatever the fuck I need to do. You know, get my health fixed, get upgrades, fucking bus passes, and all, you know, all that shit. Get my business running and started up and getting clients. And, you know, basically I want to use the first half of that to do everything I want to do and need to do, but also be able to secure an income source coming in, so that way I just never have to really worry about like being broke again, basically. So yeah, I hope you respect that. I hope you understand. It's a long, draining ass process. Okay, you know. Sure, I'm putting in like 7, 8 hours some days just into getting evidence alone, but it's exhausting because I have to make sure everything is perfect. If I'm sharing a video, I gotta like scan through it and everything, and I gotta find like the exact like minute and seconds that I need to share, and then like how long does that need to be, and like when they, it's a lot. The bank statements were a lot too, and that was probably the worst one, but also the most important one because that is just solid evidence on paper, legal paper, versus a video. Like I mean, the videos are good evidence because like especially the one I made specifically for the landlord, showing him I have the money for rent after the notice in June, you know. But anyway, um, that's just like one of the final options I have left to sort of try and fix my life. If this doesn't go well, and then I just need to like beg someone for a part-time job, or again try and find a part-time job while waiting for this case to, finalize itself, if possible. Because finding just a normal job already takes like 9+ months because of my situation. And then, sorry, that chat in this game caught me off guard, dude. It's crazy. Oh, it's crazy that I replied to that. That's even crazier. Anyway, um, but yeah, that's all. I just hope you respect my time with this. I apologize if content's just kind of here and there. It is what it is. This is a priority. I have to do this. Start to finish, I have to do this. Okay, so I hope you respect that. And it should be worth it in the end. Obviously, it's going to take the lawyer running everything down for me to like understand everything fully, but based on everything I was able to find and to put together, um, it's very solid, and there should really be no way for this to go wrong. With everything I have the emails and everything, I have the lease, I have the video evidence of me just talking about the experiences I'm going through. Even like losing my voice in some of them as like a physical symptom of like what I'm dealing with and all the stress and whatever. And in the June video too, there was like a bottle of vodka in the background that I don't remember whatsoever because I stopped drinking before I got to that apartment. I quit drinking. I didn't like being an alcoholic anymore. I didn't like drinking every single day for 2 years. I didn't like it. I didn't want it anymore. I had enough of it. Like, I'm just sick and tired of it. Even though I never got, like, properly drunk ever, despite how much I drank, I didn't want it anymore. I just woke up one day, opened my bottle as usual, to start my day, pour that in my coffee and whatever. And as soon as I smelled it to go for, like, my morning swig, something within me just got disgusted. And my stomach turned. And I was like, I can't. And I just threw it in the garbage, basically. It was like, never again. I never, like, if I'm having, like, a shot or something here or there, like, a couple times a year, sure, whatever, or New Year's, or, like, promotions, birthdays, fucking whatever. If it's, like, I don't know, a summer barbecue, like have a beer or something, I'm okay with that if the opportunity is there. But never again am I ever going to just, like, sit in my room and just drink. Ever again. I can't condone it. I can't promote it. Even though I was an alcoholic for 2 years, I don't agree with it at all. Especially if you're, like, depressed or you have anxiety or, like, other mental health struggles, or even physical health struggles, It's not something I encourage whatsoever. at all. And, seeing that bottle on that desk in that video, with no memory of this happening, um, basically showed me that, like, even though I'm saying I'm doing okay, which is something I do regardless of what I'm going through, it's just who the fuck I am, because, like, I don't want to burden you with my fucking pain as it is, because you got your own shit going on, you don't need to do my shit on top of that. But just seeing that bottle basically showed me that, like, I relapsed because of all the stress and the pain that I was going through. And I have no memory of it. I had no memory that I even did that. That is how bad it was. So, yeah, that's also good for evidence as well. The fact that that's literally on video in the background is just... everything is just in my favor. Literally everything is in my favor for this case to go well. So, that's it. Just, respect my time here, okay? I apologize that some days I'm gonna miss, okay? And, and I apologize that, like, once I'm done doing everything I was doing for the day, that I, like, need a little nap, to, like, refresh myself, And sometimes a little nap turns into, like, 3 hours, and now it's, like, 1 a.m., and now I'm like, I don't know what to do. Because now I'm, like, waking up when I should be going to sleep. It happens. It is what it is. But yeah, I just wanted to draw attention to that and explain that. Because people are going to be like, where is he? What's happening? Because we were consistently posting, and then we weren't. And, getting sick and whatnot and all that good shit. But yeah, that's about it. That's all I really want to talk about. Hope you understand. Hope you respect it. And if everything goes well, just know content will get better. Okay? I will get better, therefore content will get better. If my life gets better, I get better, and content gets better, and everything gets better. Okay? Until the next fucking midlife fucking crisis happens before I'm even fucking midlife yet. I've already had so many. I've had like fucking like 5 already, dude. I'm only 25. Like, god damn, give me a break once, please. Whoever controls the universe, just give me a goddamn fucking break for once. Just like 1 year where like everything just goes well. It'd be nice. It'd be nice. At least out of the 25 years I've been alive, it'd be great. It'd be worthy to witness that happen. And this could be that moment, if this goes well. So yeah, that's it. Hope you understand. Drop a like, and subscribe if you are new. Again, apologies if content is not consistent for a little bit, okay? It is what it is. I cannot stress that enough. It just is what it is. I don't know what to tell you other than that. I got a lot going on behind the scenes. I got a lot going on that I need to take care of. Until I see this through. When there's more time to just relax and chill and just make content, like probably like this weekend, Once I finish phase 1 here, I can take the weekend off, start phase 2 next week, and whatnot. And just to put this into perspective, right? There's phase 1, which is my side of everything. Then there's phase 2, which is my roommate's side of everything. And then phase 3 is like making the actual call, getting a lawyer, and whatnot involved, which should be free, luckily for me. And then phase 4 is filling out all of the legal paperwork and everything. That's probably going to take a while. And then phase 5 is the final phase, where we send the letter to the landlord being like, this is what's happening, here's all the evidence. If you want to avoid court, here's a price we are asking for, You have like 30 days to pay that or whatever, or we're going to court kind of thing. And if we go to court, that's when I can get the maximum amount. If he agrees to just pay us directly to avoid court and to never sue him again, it will probably be a less amount, I would imagine. Um, but still enough. I'm not gonna put myself into a position to be like, oh, I'll only take like 10% of what I'm asking for and call it a day. Like, no. You've ruined 4 years of my entire fucking life. That is almost half a fucking decade. You have ruined my life. I'm not gonna do that. I know my rights. I know that this is wrong. you know? I know that he's taken advantage of me. He probably knew what he was doing was wrong, I would imagine. Especially when my uncle died and everything, he pressured me into leaving because, like, now I'm vulnerable, you know? Just, like, I just have no reason to. I don't want to say not play fair because I'm playing very fair. Um, absolutely. But, like, I'm not going to skimp on anything. If I'm entitled to a certain amount that I am owed, then I want that, you know? I'm not gonna settle for the fucking bare minimum. Fuck that shit. I'm not here for that. Okay, I'm here for what I am owed. And that's just the end of the story, you know? Anyway, hope you understand. And that's it. That's all I want to talk about. I need to lay down for like an hour because my brain needs time to just relax for a moment. Because today was another long ass day of getting all these documents together, and bank statements, and getting the video evidence, and finding all the timestamps for that. Because a lot of these videos are like hours fucking long that I'm trying to clip out. And then yeah, so almost done phase 1 at least. Phase 2 might be just as complicated as phase 1 was, just like a shorter time frame potentially, depending on what my roommate needs for everything. Because I'm gonna do all the shit for him basically, because I did it for myself. I just need to figure out everything that he is going to need and whatnot. And if he needs to get stuff, then he needs to get stuff, and I'll do the rest and whatnot. And then yeah, hopefully when we get into phase 3 and I make the call officially to get this ball rolling, if the lawyer is on the same page as I am with my understanding of the situation, then everything should go perfectly smoothly. No problem at all. Should be smooth sailing after that. But if the lawyer's like, well, actually, A, B, and C don't actually exist or whatever, then it's like, okay, my research isn't perfect. I don't know the law like you do, but is there still something we can do or whatever, whatever the case may be. No pun intended there. But yeah, that's it. I'll see you on the next one, whenever that is. Maybe tonight, I don't know. Depends. If it is tonight, probably more of that ROM hack we're doing. Because I'm actually fucking loving that shit, even though it's stressful. I'm loving that shit. And then Friday, it's probably going to be Fortnite, because I need to finish my Battle Pass and everything for the new season rolls over. Because usually I don't give a shit. If I don't own the Battle Pass, then I just don't care. But if I did own it, and I haven't gotten everything, then, I'd like to finish getting everything if I have purchased it, And, yeah, that's it. I'll see you on the next one. And hopefully that clears everything up and makes more sense for everyone. So I hope you understand. And yeah, hopefully this works out in the end. You guys will know if it does or does not, because you guys know the past 13 years of my entire existence, which is basically half of my entire life up to this point. So guarantee you will know the outcome regardless of what happens. Unless I quite literally am not allowed to talk about it, then I will not talk about it because I'm not allowed to. So until then, I will talk about it. Okay? So, yeah. Again, drop a like, subscribe. If you're on Kick, follow and subscribe as well. Much appreciated. And yeah, I'm probably gonna snack for a few minutes and then lay down for like an hour or something, and then yeah,